And are you planning to do a regular show on Radio Centraal? It's just an experiment.
No, it's yeah. Because we wanted to experience the medium ourselves. So
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
working with people on the radio. So we asked Daniel, and he said, "Oh, you can have like the sandbox to try." But then we also wanted to tie it to our research. So like, if we can interview people, then it's nicer than us just playing like some random music for an hour. So.
Actually, I wouldn't mind to have. I really like radio.
What you say?
I really like radio. I wouldn't mind to have a radio. So I'm a journalist by formation. I never thought about radio when I was doing it, but I was more press.
But it looks so impressive, all the buttons and the... Especially you, if you do like live mixing and stuff.
Yeah, because today I will be doing a show together with the guitar player.
Oh, great! Wow.
Yeah. And it's just improvisation, so I have my sound effects, some sound effects records. So completely don't know what I'm gonna do. So that's a funny thing about Radio Centraal. So that's truly a unique point of this radio. Because I think the regular radio is like so narrow.
Yeah,
like it's like there's only made 120 songs during the history of mankind. It's always the same shit.
I used to work in a store and it was always Eminem hits. And I can tell you after 3 days.
Yeah, if I would go completely nuts.
And everywhere you go, it's the same songs. After a while, I cannot. It's not that they're always bad, but if you hear it.
Yeah, if you hear them too much, they really destroy songs by that. This was nothing.
Yes, already.
Okay.
Maybe we can close the door or something.
But you have to make the changeover from here to here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
So you can put this already. So this is CD1, or USB. And you can listen while I turn off there. I turn off the program there, and you will hear it going down, and then you can start the original bits in a few minutes.
Without sound.
Oh yeah. You're probably not that nervous, but for us it's the first radio. It's so expressive. I feel like I have an exam or something.
I'm very excited. I think it is great.
Is it long? Like
Yeah, it's just Yeah, because that's why this is sometimes useful, and you can check out yourself if you're too close. You can also do it by listening to it on your smartphone, of course. But I don't know if you have a radio function.
Radio function? Oh yeah, Radio Centraal. Oh yeah, the app.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
But you better take not the internet app, because that has a delay of 10 seconds. It's a,
really?
You really need a radio player, but I don't know if you have that. No.
No, I don't think I have that. There's probably an app that can play radio. I only have the Radio Centraal app.
Yeah. But maybe it's also funny that we just...
It doesn't have to be
if it's too loud or too silent, I will tell you, or I will... Maybe it's just a funny
like
part of the show. Like
I mean,
nobody is expecting.
No one expects anything professional.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
No. I hope not.
Never better said.
So it's about time. Yeah. 10 seconds and then you can slide in.
Oh, also make sure you're near a mic when you have to say hi.
So I'll just come here.
Yeah. A bit of a fun. No, you have to do adjust it here. Maybe a little bit down. Yeah. So this is also like to move all the time. And this is a bit of a punky song, so it's okay. It may go a bit in the red. Also for the CDs, you have to, with the slides, you can adjust the volume.
Good evening, my dear ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. Welcome to a very special episode of The Sandbox. Tonight we will kick up some sand and dust in your ear canals. This is a sound you've never heard before, the sound of living. First things first, let me introduce you to the wonderful team members of Team Radio. Sitting on my right here in the studio is the beautiful and athletic Paula, my co-host for tonight.
Hello, Ari!
Making sure we're not extending our stay here at Radio Centraal is Boma, our very nice photographer and punctual time manager.
Hello!
And last but not least, we have dinosaur lover Ruben, who's in charge of our one-man technical crew.
Hi!
My name is Ari, and I promise you this show will give you the best eargasm you've ever had. Let's go!
Thank you, Ari, for your wonderful introduction. As you said, we are here in representation of the Sound of Living project, but people may wonder, what kind of magic is this? This, ladies and gentlemen, is good ethnographic stuff. We are students of KU Leuven, and we are doing a research seminar about creating creative livelihoods. This is how people make a living out of creativity, in a creative way.
Oh, so like the people here at Radio Centraal.
Exactly! We're better than Radio Centraal to make this.
Mm-hmm.
Since we've been here the past few weeks doing field work.
Paula, what do you mean by doing field work? Is it like archaeologists digging up rocks and polishing them?
No, Ari, did you forget your major? Our participants are actually living people.
Oh, so you're digging up and polishing living people? That's a weird fetish you have there. I'm confused.
No, Ari, it's anthropology, not archaeology. What we do is talking to people and trying to understand the world through their eyes.
Oh, that's why we're making radio. So we get a better feel of the radio making process.
You gotcha.
I gotcha. But, Paula, could you maybe help me refresh my memory? How did we end up at Radio Centraal again?
Well, let's take now a trip back on time to when, about 3 months ago, 9 of us drew the sorter sticks and ended up in a group called Creative Livelihood.
Bloop, 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 bloop. Flashback sound.
There we were assigned to explore the way in which creative people define and make their livelihoods. We searched far along for everything that we consider creative, from makerspace to hackerspace, until we ended up here at Radio Centraal.
Oh.
Yeah, Radio Centraal is an independent community radio with a unique concept. It's the real proof that being non-commercial is not an obstacle to success.
Mm-hmm.
More on the contrary, it has successfully accommodated at least 1,000 of creative people for the last 40 years. Radio Centraal is a haven to voice the sounds that otherwise remain unspoken and unheard of, and the perfect place to inspire and drive unique creative livelihoods along the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no wonders why we instantly fell in love with it. And we were intrigued to follow as much Radio Centraal content makers as possible. What brings us here, right now, is our wish of hear the story of their creative livelihood and how Radio Centraal has a role in it.
Oh wow, we've really been putting in a lot of work, haven't we? But on a more serious note, we are really thankful to have a special guest with us tonight to kick off this series of profiles of creative livelihoods at Radio Centraal. Tonight's guest is Bert Lezy, a visual artist and the creative brain behind Blastaal, Radio Centraal's weekly show in which Bert plays with language, sound and music to create a very unique sound. But instead of me explaining it, let's have his work speak for itself.
Okay, yeah, the mics are down. Okay, well done.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. That was a bit.
Oh, I should have my beer also too.
You want to have a sip of mine? if you want to see some of it. So basically after this, it's just the interview until...
So how are you gonna start now after this?
Like we are going to ask you why did you select this song to play now and what it means for you, or
and like then a bit about your show, like
because maybe, but I don't know if you have time to look it up. I have some of my own made stuff as well, but yeah, I would say we'll play afterwards a show. Because this is not my music, it's just a band I like. So this is not my. But it's very influential for many people on the radio.
Nice. Also, if you feel like you want to play a song in between, you can just have it. The listeners will be fine to wait a little bit if we explain them that. We can always switch to the jingle if we need to.
Still 43 seconds.
Or you can reset it even.
Or you can. What you also can do is like put it down that you have a little background music. Then you have to check out if it's disturbing. If it's disturbing is not the right word. But,
but like interfering.
We're thinking for the intro it might be better to keep it clean. Because we wouldn't want. It was hard to find music that's not too intrusive.
Also this band, it's like some songs are very lively and other are
so we will just keep it like conversation level. And if at some point you will like to show us any of your own music, like the one you produce, you can tell us and we just...
Or if you're in need of a break.
So I have this record
because you'll be talking more than us, I assume, because you're asking more questions. So if you're in the need of a break,
then we can play this one.
How long is this?
Still 1 minute and 10 seconds.
If it's too long, you can fade it out. That's your show.
We think like
it's still radio too. Like even though this is more of a talk show, maybe, but it's nice for if there are people listening. Maybe to have people
listening. That's a good.
Actually, a lot of my friends are listening.
We have been like to our friends.
Teachers.
The scenery, like put it on the right speed. It's on 45.
I like it.
Check out the residence.
The residence.
That's what I also try to do with my show, and also with my DJ sets. I sometimes do like music that not everybody knows.
10 seconds.
So, hi, welcome, Bert Lezy.
Hey, hello.
Can you tell us a bit what we are just listening to?
This was a track Safety is called a Koody Woody, and it's called Safety is a Koody Woody. It's a track by the Residents. It's a band from San Francisco. They exist since 1972 under that name, and they've always been like incognito, like nobody knows who they are, but some people do know who they are, and they make like music about music. So it's
music
kind
about
of,
music.
They do a lot of reinterpretations and cover songs, and in a humoristic way puts them in question and puts pop music itself in question. And they're very influential for me, and I think for a lot of people on Radio Centraal.
And why is that? How could you describe the influence they had on you?
For one part, the mystique they have, and also the humor is very important to me. It's like the rock music and pop music is sometimes taken very seriously, and they like in a very weird Dadaistic way play with that and put it into question in a funny way. Sometimes also in a scary way or a weird way. It's a weird band as well. But there's always something funny about it, and that's what I like.
Okay.
Yeah, because for your work, you told us the other time we talked that fun was important for you. Like, it was, you want to bring this funny component to your own work?
Yes, that's also part of my visual work and also my radio work. It's not all about fun or jokes, but to me it's important. It's like a door which opens to bring in other stuff or putting things in question. Yeah.
So can you tell us a bit about your show here on Radio Centraal, Blaastyle?
Yeah, it started out I think 12 years ago. I did it together with a friend. Now I do it alone, but sometimes I do it with guests. And I work with, I do different things, but I work with the first typical Radio Centraal music that's not heard everywhere. It can go from avant-garde music to also stupid Flemish songs that nobody knows or children's songs. I also work a lot with sound records, airplanes, birds, also language courses are because that's what very important in my show is like language put out of context.
Okay.
So when you listen to old language courses, English, for instance, you get like crazy stories if you. So even you put a pause in it and then start it again with background noises. I also do it often with live musicians. So tonight I have my show 8:30. And Bjorn de Rijmaker will hear me, and he's gonna bring a guitar. Every time he brings another guitar when he visits me, so I'm curious what kind of guitar he's gonna bring today. And we don't know what we're gonna do, we're just gonna improvise for an hour, yeah.
So everybody tune in tonight at 8:30?
Yeah. Blaastyle.
Alright.
Yeah, for sure. And about your work, do you think as your work like music, or how would you define, like more like art or experiment or?
Yeah, sometimes people ask me if I'm a musician, but I can't play one note on but I like making sounds like with tape or with beer cans or stuff like that. And I also put a lot of time in making cut-ups from fragments from like the weather forecast of the news or traffic information, like the most stupid things you hear on other radios or on television or soap series or stuff like that. And if I have time enough, I spend hours and hours making cut-ups out of it and changing word orders and like making funny stuff from boring stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
And what do you want to achieve, like with your program? What would you like to build while doing this kind of?
It depends. It's like sometimes I want to poke some fun, sometimes I want to canalize my anger a bit, like my things that irritate me. I think a lot of radio and television is right down irritating or stupid.
Yeah.
And I try to in a funny way, trying to make something else out of it, to try to pour. It's like making a collage, but then with sound, yeah.
Sound collage.
The sound collage, yeah.
Yes.
Partly live and partly made before at home. Yeah.
So
go ahead, Paula.
we know that you work as a visual artist also.
Yeah.
So how does this music or this sound relate to your life as a visual artist?
In many ways, in fact. I've always been collecting music since I was a kid, recording tapes, and it really gives inspiration to me. Listening to music, to strange music, exploring, like it goes from punk music to avant-garde to rock and roll to all kind of stuff. And I also used to decorate my tapes with drawings and collages and stuff like that. And I also do a lot of posters. Sometimes posters for DJ sets I do, and concerts that are going on in a bus or in different places. So there's always been a relation between music and my art. Yeah.
Yeah, because you make live drawings at concerts.
I see. Is that door or is it?
phone.
Oh, phone.
Somebody is calling us.
Okay.
Apparently.
I lost myself a bit.
No problem. About the drawings and about your, you are publishing books while making a drawing per day, right?
Yeah. Every day I make a drawing. That's a bit like making a song. Or there has to be tempo in the stuff I do. I started it 3 years and 2 months ago. The dagelijkse Lezy, every day a drawing. The end of the year I make a book of it with all the drawings, just 1st of January, 2nd, 3rd, until the end of the year. This is book 3 now that I have. So,
3rd book already.
Yeah, now I'm working on book 4, hopefully, if everything goes right. What I also do is also the relation with music is I also do live drawings in public.
Yes.
I had to say that the former question already, but I do this with jazz concerts in Café de Cades in the summer Jazz Tuesday. So I just improvise on the music they're playing, and I have just drawing gear and a little camera above it and a beamer which projects it directly.
So people can follow what you're drawing live?
Yeah, I follow the music, I just really go in the music and you can see that. I also do this with a band I'm in, it's called the Valerie Solanas. And I do every show of them, I do this live performance with drawings. I also do all their artwork and video clips and everything around the Valerie Solanas, check them out. Yes, yeah.
Do you think the fact that you are having this show in Radio Central every week, fixed slot, it's also like a way of keeping a continuity with your work?
Yes, yeah, that's true. Sometimes the daily drawing I have to really do every day. Sometimes for the radio show, there periods that I have a lot of time, sometimes I don't have much time. So sometimes I really make completely in detail a whole show, and sometimes I just arrive here without not knowing what I'm gonna do and just throwing it out. What I also have to do sometimes is to do a re-emission of an old episode because I don't have the time. But I think it's important that it is there every week. So in those 12 or 13 years I'm doing this, I think it's only been like maybe 10 times I didn't show up.
That's
but then I warned people before that I wasn't gonna be there. So sometimes I drop a CD here with the show, and then they put it on. And sometimes it's a remake of an older episode, but I think I can do this because I put a lot of work in some of these episodes, so they can be played again 6 years later.
So was your show always like this, or because you have been broadcasting for quite a while? How did it evolve?
Yeah, it evolved a lot.
How did you start out? What's the difference?
In fact, it started out with a CD I made, and it was a nephew of mine. He recorded in the 1980s on the Antwerp Independent Radio. Completely different than Radio Centraal because it was a radio for old people, handicapped people. But it was really very, how should I say, unprofessional, but in such a friendly, funny way. And also they spoke very weird. They were trying to speak Dutch with a very heavy Antwerp accent. If they put if they have to say English song titles, like they say Hamazing Grace instead of Amazing Grace and stuff like that. So it was very funny, and I made a CD out of that, and that was like a little success among friends and friends of friends. And then Dennis Steve is also working on Radio Centraal. He said, you should do a show, and I'm gonna do it. But I was also a bit nervous. And I started out with Mick Prims, a good friend of mine. So we did it for years together on Monday noon, 1 o'clock. We had a show. But since a few years I'm doing it alone. Like the combination didn't work anymore, and so we went separate ways.
And then Blastal.
Yeah, it was always called Blastal. It was
Blastal,
yeah.
Okay.
The first CD was also under the name Blastal. That's why. Yeah.
So that's a continuity throughout the years.
So what does it mean for you to work here at Radio Central? What has a special for you, Radio Central?
Yeah, it's more like playing on that. Is it work? Is it play? It's something in between.
Yeah.
We're not getting paid for this.
Yes.
We even pay to do this.
We promise we're not getting paid.
Yes. So for you, it's really a hobby, or because it's also a bit related to your visual work as an artist?
It's like,
is it art? How would you describe it?
I wouldn't call it a hobby. It's more like, it's part of my life. It's like I've all the time trying to create stuff with what's happening around me, the small things. Like also with the drawings, like I said with the Blastal collages, it's like the weather forecast. A lot of these drawings in the book, maybe almost half of them, are made in bars. While I'm sitting and hearing chatter of people, and I also pick out like funny words or funny phrases, and then I reinterpret it to make a drawing that clashes with it. So it's also language is very important in my drawings. Yeah. So that's a connection between Blastal and my visual work. Yeah.
But also then in your personal life, you don't really, to me it sounds like you don't really have fixed times, like now I'm an artist and I'm creating and now I'm not. Are you always like
it's just
involved
one
with this
flow,
process?
it's one flow, yeah.
Yes.
In fact, I'm all the time busy doing it.
Yeah. It's like
not with that pretension and now I'm working, but it's just my life, and then this stream of things going on, it's plop, every day it's a drawing that I choose out of it. Then, okay, this is the one for the... I do more than... sometimes I'm working a long time on a drawing that will be finished in 2 weeks, and others are just made in a few minutes. And so I just try to plan it that I have every day something that hasn't been seen before.
Yes.
Sometimes also the live drawings I do with the concerts. So let's say, okay, this is the one for tomorrow, this is the one for the day after tomorrow. Yeah. Also nude drawings, portraits, cartoons. So it's a constant stream, and then between those 24 hours that make out a day, I have to choose out one. This is going to be the one for today.
That
so that's how I work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, have you ever had this feeling of blank? Of you don't feel absolutely like doing anything?
Of course, yeah. But the good thing is that because I'm always busy, I like my house is full of drawings and half drawings, so I can always pick out something. Funny thing is that one time I made, I put a Cades Lezy drawing. It was just a few scratches on paper, and I wrote under it that it seemed like you didn't have very much hoesting,
like inspiration.
Like very. And the funny thing is, somebody bought the drawing, so I really want this one. So is that work? Is that play? Is that I don't know. But it's
something in between completely. So about your show here in Radio Central, are you satisfied with it? Are you happy with how it's going so far?
Yes, I'm very glad that I live in Antwerp, and because this radio is like it's a unique project. I think it's almost anywhere in the world. I think that something like this, with this freedom of the one thing you can do here is play commercial music, or if you do, cut it up or put it in a strange context.
Yeah.
So it's very unique. So I'm very glad that I can be part of it. It's like Dennis Steve is my friend and artist I mentioned before. He said it's like a Gesamtkunstwerk that's going on for 40 years already. And
is that how you describe Radio
Centraal? I think that's a very good description of Radio Centraal. That's completely the opposite of Clara or Studio Brussels, because it's all very, they don't even know how to put on a record or a CD.
And do you have any future plans for your show? How do you see it evolving, or do you just let it happen?
The future is what's going to happen in 1 hour and a half. No.
That's the future.
Yeah. No, I just go on from day to day with everything, and then I try to plan it, and then by the end of the year I start planning the book. It can be finished in the beginning of January, so that's always, my future is always very close by it.
And there are any special difficulties that you have encountered so far for?
I've had many difficulties. I've had a hard, difficult life. No, I've been an artist all my life, and it's very hard to because you have a lot of rivals. There's a lot of artists, and it's also a very hermetic world. It's very hard to get in that world, and you also have the artists that go, they pay millions for it, and then you have the amateurs, but it's like there's nothing in between. So it's very hard to find a way between those two poles, and that's also why I do this daily thing. It's a bit like in a DIY philosophy, like I will do it myself, because if you're not going to do it for me, because I tried many times to get into galleries, sometimes with success, but mostly not, and it's like I will do everything myself, and that's how that made me luckier than the years before. I know that I was depressed, but it was difficult. It was a struggle. There's a lot of people that just stop with it because it seems like impossible to continue. So I'm glad that I can find the energy to go on, and also the fact that I can be on Radio Centraal, because that's for me a good platform to.
So is that how you came up with the idea of the Dagelijkse Lezy?
Yeah, it was like, how do you say that again in English? A goede voornemen? A good resolution. It was my resolution for the 1st of January 2016.
2016.
Instead of eating less fries or more fruit, I just say I'm going to put on a drawing every day. Yes.
And was it immediately with the thought also of publishing it then at the end of the year, or?
Also because it evolved. If you see my first book, I started out I had a lot of trash and drawings lying all over the house, and I was thinking, this is like, it's a good drawing, but it's not worth framing it and hanging up in a gallery, but it's worth putting it online. So that it started out like with a half thing. So the first book of the Dagelijkse Lezy, you see the evolution between black and white fast drawings, and it becomes more and more elaborate and with more color and also etchings, and posters start entering the timeline. Also posters for Radio Centraal. I often make posters for from parties or concerts related to Radio Centraal. So that's all getting involved in it along the way.
Yes. In your Facebook page, we have seen that you are really having a lot of connections with a lot of people. Do you think this is important, like for your artist work?
Yes.
Like social networking and.
So like the frustration I sometimes had of not getting involved in the real art world. I am proud that I reach a lot of people, just regular people who are not all the time busy with art, and they feel a connection to it. And I feel a connection with the way they have a connection. Like and I think that's important. I think that is art. That's more important than the galleries and the canon,
so
or where are you in the history of art.
Connecting with people.
I think connection is one of the things about art. And I think sometimes in my drawing you don't have to be a studied person to understand it on a first level, but you can see there are more levels under it, so I think you can find a lot of it in the drawing. I think so, and I'm talking about myself.
No, but do you really, when you are drawing something, you are like thinking about the meanings, or it's more like you are taking what you have inside and putting there?
Well, there are in fact different, like if you look at the drawings, there are like different streams going on. Sometimes also like the funny meditative stream, or how do I say that? I'm just like doodling around.
Like trancing, or?
Sometimes a bit like getting away from the world, just getting into music or into with a beer with it, and then I'm just drawing, but I make like elaborate things out of that. Sometimes it's the live drawing, sometimes it's also murals or portraits, or so there are many different streams, and then the silly word games I do a lot. So hard to translate in English.
The word games, like puns, you mean? Like
puns. Yeah.
Do they just come to you?
Yeah, they come to me.
Okay, you're not thinking days like...
No, that's why also from the beginning I did this and I said I'm not gonna give people the expectation it's gonna be a joke every day because I can't do that. I'm not a cartoonist.
Yeah.
I have very much respect for good cartoonists that they can come up with a joke every day, but I can't do that. They just have to be there and then, alright, Jack. And sometimes it's also like in bars, they are just joking around and then, alright, this is a good one, and I write it down and then like, classic, but it's the way it happens,
Okay.
So, do you think that so far you are like achieving the goals you were wanting with when you started to do art? Do you feel like you're achieving what you wanted? That you are in the place you should be, or?
Yes and no. It's like I said before. It's like the DIY thing. I'm glad that I can do what I can do by myself, and then. That I don't need to go work in the salt mines or something.
Oh, yeah. So you can really
also say goodbye
yourself.
to VDAB and RVA and all those silly people. It's like I've had it with them. Like so it's a bit difficult sometimes because I don't have a real statute or how do you say that?
Really?
Yeah. But also that it gives a certain feeling of freedom. Like if they leave me alone, I leave them alone, and I just
it works out there.
go on myself, and I am together with the people, but not with like the.
So would you say you feel successful with what you're doing, or?
Successful, that's a big word. No.
Like in your.
But I feel
like
appreciation from people, and
yes.
that's, if someone says, "Yeah, I like your," sometimes I meet people and they talk about the dialects. They don't have. Okay, I've reached. The communication happens.
Yes,
it got to somebody, so that makes me happy. Yeah.
Do you have, what is like a goal for you with your art? Is it to expand it or to just keep going what you have going on, or don't you really think about it?
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know. Sometimes I think that I want to be famous or I want to be, but in the end I don't think it's that funny to be too famous.
Yes.
Like I think maybe it's just alright. Like it is.
Yeah.
It's of course it's on a very small level. I'm like world famous in Antwerp. I'm not too serious about it.
Antwerp is the center of the world.
Outside of that, nobody knows me. So
But yeah, success can still be if you're happy with
and
where
I think
you
that's.
are and where you're at.
I think a lot of what's happening in the art world is like it's out of relation, or how you say it. It's like too big or too small or too.
Yeah.
I think it's sometimes it's way too serious. They talk about it. There's a lot of bullshit going on. Also like to make parodies about that. I had a drawing, it's called Hedendaagse Kunst is zo passé.
Oh, I saw it in your book because it's on my birthday. It was published on my birthday, actually. So people, if you buy the book, the 16th of November, that's where you can find it.
Very nice. So, well, I think that to wrap up this interview, we asked you if you could bring some of the work, like your favorite piece or something you really like, and you could explain us maybe a bit why.
About a song we're gonna play.
Yes.
I would say I just picked out something almost at random.
Right.
But what I have here is it's on it's a 45 single from Weevy's Thunder. So not Stevie Wonder, but Weevy's Thunder.
Oh, is that a
also some letters replaced?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's also a guy who makes cut-ups. It's a bit like blast style, but there's like an electro musician. I've never met him. I never saw him live, but I like what he's doing, and I hope I picked out the right song because I just it's a song about a baboon, I think. So maybe
about a baboon.
Yeah, I thought so. Yes.
Okay. Maybe we can listen a bit to it and then discuss it.
Okay. The final sound.
Okay, we can have it play a little bit.
Yeah. And have a bit of a rest. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Would you like to add some more comments? Because we still
Oh,
have
we
some
still have
time.
half an hour, yeah.
So, I don't know, maybe after the song,
If something about
We can
your
talk-
own music
maybe a little
or...
bit.
Maybe I can see if I have a fragment we can play.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I hear the baboon.
Ah, yeah.
So I make these small CDs for every show, so I'm going to see if there's something we can use to...
Yeah, as you want.
Yeah, but most of them are in Dutch, but we gotta...
That's no problem.
It's no problem. No.
I think most of the people listening
Yeah, yeah.
don't understand anyway. Did it record or did it stop?
Yeah, but now it stopped. But it
You have to
did
press-
record like
Oh.
Maybe this is a funny thing, it's
Yeah.
about... I hope it still works because it's a bit of a...
This was the sound of delicate, a sound so infinitely thin that it became inversely proportionate to the ears of its creators. The sound of a slightly enhanced rotary mower in a universe that reeks of the petrified strains of the sacred baboon.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's a few fragments and it's about
So far.
dogs. It's a CD about different types of dogs, but I changed the word order and stuff like that. So that's again number 6. But we can make a link from this song with the Weavy Standard to, I have a piece ready, last out piece, and it's about a CD I bought about dogs, different types of dogs, but I just cut and pasted to an absurd thing. Okay.
Okay, it's a very interesting song about a baboon.
Interesting music. So you were telling us right now that you were having another song like you made about dogs?
Yeah, this Weavy Thunder guy is a bit like I compared him to what I start to do, and yeah, just quickly took something because I always take some CDs I made myself at random to the show to see what I'm gonna do with it. And I came on it's a CD I once bought in the Kringloopwinkel, Onze Trouwe Viervoeter, it was called. It's about dogs, about different types of dogs. So it's a guy explaining what's the characteristics of this kind of dog. Yeah. And I took out this one, I chose this one for now, it's called the Hongaarse staande hond.
We have to translate that, the Hungarian
Standing dog, yeah.
yes.
Okay, we can do
Let's
this.
listen.
I do love dogs, so...
De Hongaarse staande hond is een Hongaarse hond die ook wel bekend staat onder de naam Hongaarse staande hond. Van oorsprong is de hond een echt Hongaarse hond. Tegenwoordig wordt hij meer als gezins- of gezelschapshond gezien. Naast de originele visla, kort haar, komt ook een draadharige visla voor. Die ook wel bekend staat onder de naam Hongaarse staande hond. Het zijn lieve en intelligente honden en ze zijn dol op jachthonden.
I know. Okay, interesting. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe later on we can listen to Vechthond as well. It's the next track. But we
Okay, yeah, sure.
We are always up for dogs.
Yeah.
So how did you came with this idea of...
Yeah, because I saw this CD for one. Maybe it was even a CD-ROM, I guess, with pictures like a 90s.
Like for a computer, like
Onze
an old
Trouwe,
song. Yeah.
our onze trouwe viervoeters. If I see stuff like that, I have to take it home.
Of course.
That's why it's such a trash at home. It's full of CDs and drawings and stuff like that. So I thought, yeah, there must be something in this, and really, so I made like 10 or 12 tracks out of it. So we have the Witte Herdershond, we have the Bouvier, the Spaniel Blaft, the Tsjechische Terrier, and so on.
So it was a very good buy.
Yeah, sometimes I also made new crossings between different dogs.
Oh,
Probably the person doing the CD in the first place couldn't imagine that it will be the result.
Yeah.
Great.
So the next track is Fight Dog? Like
Yeah, I think so. Maybe we check it out.
Yes.
It's a dangerous dog, I guess.
Dangerous dog.
De Japanse doogzuiging heeft een massieve en krachtige bouw. Dit maakt de hond tot een uitstekende vechthond.
So I made it a bit scary. I slowed it down and some echo on it and some silences between, like, oh, be careful. So that's what, also like the guys explain it always in the same voice, but I make it sometimes creepy and sometimes very silly, and that's what I try to do with. That's what I mean by putting it out of context.
Yeah, if you wouldn't speak Dutch, you probably think this is like a scary track.
Yeah. Yeah, I also have things with English, but yeah, maybe a Japanese lesson.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like,
No?
Yeah, but I don't know if
we can play and then end it, or
More we can talk a bit, huh?
Yeah. Still 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah, but you can fade it out, huh?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
yes, we can.
Or maybe we can try to talk over it.
Oh,
Yeah.
we can.
I can explain what I said.
Oh yes,
Yes.
So,
Are the mics
Try
open?
to do it.
No.
the mic's on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Bert, explain a bit what you did with this track.
Yeah, so on the CD-ROM, it's a guy is always talking in the same voice about the different dogs, and what I do is like with this dog, it's a Japanese dog, I don't know the name again, but he's dangerous, so I keep repeating the fact that he's dangerous, and I slow down everything, put some echo on it, like it gets very scary.
Yes.
It's going on for 3 minutes, and he says it's a very, very dangerous dog. It's not suitable for beginners.
Oh my
Very,
god.
very- but the guy only said it once, and then he talked some, and I
Yes.
just took out that sentence and I like made it by repetition. And then on the other, the dog we heard before, it's like just a silly one by repeating
Yes.
the fact that the Hungarian dog is a Hungarian dog.
Yeah.
So
it
that's
makes
what
sense.
you mean by putting it out of context.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because absolutely me that I'm not a Dutch speaker, if I hear this track, I wouldn't think it's about the dog. I would think it's about something really scary and dark and
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
well.
amazing.
That was maybe I can give to the technical crew over there.
Yes, Ruben.
Our one-man
This CD
technical
is
crew.
a Japanese language course. I hope it's the right. It's track 12, but maybe for after this one, you just.
I like that. I speak a little bit of Japanese, so
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what happens.
But like I said, so I take these CDs that I make myself, these CDRs at random, and I know this Japanese lesson. I've been working some time on it, so this is not a definitive mix of it.
Oh, okay.
But it's a work in progress.
Okay.
And
Did you learn a little bit of Japanese while working with
just
the
a
track?
little bit, but I don't think it's like I don't know if it's in this piece, but someone is asking where's the toilet, and yes, at the end of the
トイレはどこ
streets.
ですか?
You really know your
Yes.
Japanese, yeah. But this is an English, an American guy explaining Japanese, so that's maybe
Yes,
more
Okay.
understandable for them.
Yeah, for me, for sure.
Yeah, you can put in. You can throw. in.
Ruben is rolling the track.
Polite expressions. 2. 丁寧な表現. 2. There are a few basic expressions that you should learn right away. 2. Small courtesies that will impress your hosts and show them that you've taken the time to familiarize yourself with their language. I'm sorry. For instance, the word please is I'm sorry.
That's the weird thing to hear. Because I was expecting like...
So I think it's a bit dangerous using this to learn Japanese.
Yes.
Get you in weird situations.
Arigato. Thank you very much is
どうもありがとう
to say you're welcome. You're welcome.
どういたしまして
You're welcome.
どういたしまして
If a waiter or the host offers to refill your glass, you could indicate your acceptance by saying, yes, thank you.
はいありがとうはいありがとうはいありがとうはいありがとうはいありがとう
If you don't want any more, say, yes, thank you.
結構です結構です
If you're introduced to someone, it's polite to respond, nice to meet you.
はじめましてはじめまして
If you accidentally bump into someone, you should say, nice to meet you. Yes, thank you.
I'm all the time expecting what's going to happen now.
If you want to apologize to someone or express your regrets, say, yes, thank you. Of course, there will be many times when you'll be unable to understand when people speak to you. Here are a few phrases that will help you get through these situations. I don't understand.
わかりません
I don't understand.
わかりません
I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Just imagining
わかり
that.
ません
Maybe you can
Understand.
mix the laughter in it.
わかりません
I don't
Do you want
understand.
to?
Yeah.
And so it goes on and on.
That's really nice and funny, but I wouldn't recommend this.
Yeah, I
to learn
would recommend
Japanese.
it. I think you can use in weird situations.
I'm all the time hearing the track and saying, okay, what's going to happen now? I'm expecting it. Awesome, very nice. Yeah, so it's do you do often like coming back to previous made tracks and continue them?
Yeah, like this one is it's from some years ago. It wasn't finished yet. I use it for the show, but then sometimes I more refine them to make CDRs out of it.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't manage to sell, and then after a while I give them away. Or I change them with other people.
Yeah, do you like, because I know that some people, what they are doing art, drawings and so on, sometimes exchange. Like, do you do it often or?
Yeah, but more with musical stuff, because sometimes with drawings as well, but the problem is that I have so many drawings everywhere, I almost can't stock them anymore, so it's a bit unrespectful also for the other guy that his work will be somewhere lost. But I have a wall at home where there's little drawings and paintings from friends and things I exchange. So I have some of it, but I can't do it all the time because I can't give it a place. And I also have to live, so that's why I also try selling these books.
Do you have an art studio, or is your house your art studio?
It's a bit the last.
The last one.
Yeah.
So paint me a picture if you can. What does the house of an artist look like?
At our place, like I have an atelier and another atelier, and my girlfriend also has an atelier.
Oh,
and
she's
then
also
the kitchen, and the kitchen table is also sometimes full of stuff because the other atelier is lying full of. Sometimes I'm drawing there, but in fact also my atelier is my backpack.
Oh.
So that's why I draw a lot outside. I even mentioned it in my introduction.
Yes, that you also
I said
write
some of the
essays
drawings are even made in the atelier, in the studio.
Even some of them.
Yeah, only some of them in fact, yeah.
So your backpack is like your mobile
Yeah. And I also have some books with me. So mostly I sell them in bars or after like concerts or
Do you often have people approaching you, like when you're in a bar drawing?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, very often,
okay.
Yeah,
because I can imagine it's intriguing to see the person working.
Yeah.
So that's also a way for you to connect?
Yeah, to connect, And sometimes by that way I sell sometimes books even to complete strangers, so that if, okay, I'm lucky. I'm going on a cafe and I'm richer going out.
So our listeners, if you are interested and you see Bert Lezy in a coffee place, you can always get a book. Be
careful or I sell you a book.
Or lucky.
Yeah,
he
lucky.
Will sell you
You will be lucky.
It's a nice book.
Yes.
We can tell.
It's too bad we cannot show it on the radio.
I will put it in front of the microphone.
Do you have a favorite piece, like in this book, the one of 2018?
No.
Or not really.
No, I wouldn't know.
Or one with a special memory or a funny story behind it?
This is a ceiling I made.
Wow. It's very colorful for the people who cannot see it.
Yeah, it was they can look it up on Facebook. So it's a dagelijkse lezie on my Facebook, DDL 18 0923.
It's a ceiling. It was a very old antique ceiling, and they asked me first to. It was completely broke down, and they asked me to restore it, but I said I can't restore it. That's not my job. And so fix it again, and we chose a color together. So they like reconstructed it, that it was again firm, and then I just improvised on it. So they said I work the best if I don't make any pre-study or and they believed me.
Wow.
Yeah. Also made a video of it. You can see it on YouTube as well. So if you go to YouTube and you type Bert Lezy painting a ceiling, you will see, and it's with music as well.
Oh,
so,
nice.
And you see the making of the dagelijkse lezie, so that's a story.
You see the ceiling in real life, or is it?
Yeah, you see it like an empty blue ceiling.
But can you visit it like?
No, it's private.
Okay.
Yeah, it's private.
But you can watch it on YouTube or in the dagelijkse.
Yeah, there's also, now talking about YouTube, if you type my name on YouTube, there's a lot of films I make as well. Yeah, films or videos. So there are some video clips for the Valerie Solanas.
Nice.
And there's also, maybe we can play a song.
Yeah, I was wondering that if we could maybe listen a bit to Valerie Solanas.
Yeah, maybe take song The Beetle. I think it's somewhere in here. Let's see. Where were we? There's a lot of making of drawings and paintings like the ceiling and many other things, video clips, also blast style, little movies. Yeah.
Nice.
So so check out Bert Lezy on YouTube. I have a channel there. It's I don't know 100 or 200. I haven't counted.
That's quite a lot.
Yeah, it's quite a lot. Yeah.
So now listen to the Valerie Solanas.
Yeah.
Ruben.
5 minutes? Okay.
Ruben.
Track like just when maybe
It just
maybe
happened now.
Like
wrap it up.
wrap it up. Thank you, and then we can play more of this.
This is quite a long song, so I think it's long enough for the whole thing. So we can fade it out, or we can
talk over it.
and we talk over it.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And okay, so now like play 1 minute if you want, and we fade it.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the toilet and maybe take another beer.
Go ahead.
Of course.
Anyone a beer?
No, thank you.
Yeah, it's long enough. So then I'll keep it on a very low. Then you can finish up, and then I just
put it
on
up
again
and we
until
finish
it's finished.
everything. So how do we finish? Like thank you very much. And to Radio Centraal. If we are repeating the show like next week, we know better. But it's good.
I didn't expect it to be this off.
I know.
Yeah. No, but in the worst of the cases, we just connect the night machine. Yeah. And we have half an hour instead of 1 hour. It's okay.
If it's still recording.
It's just that now. But I can do about
5 minutes. Because it's full?
Maybe, I don't know. I just
Maybe
heard
after
it
a while.
click and I just was glad.
maybe it's like this one stopped too after a while.
Maybe they do it automatically
Yeah, I
to
think
save
so.
battery in case you leave it on in your
Right.
pocket.
Where we have like enough material.
Yeah. The beer is surprisingly okay.
Yeah.
We bought it on a whim.
We thought it would be...
We were like, bought it on a whim at Lidl, this kind
Yeah,
of beer, but it's surprisingly okay.
Yeah,
right?
it's quite okay, yeah.
Think that.
Thanks, cheers.
So, dear ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of our show. We would really like to thank Bert Lezy for letting us interview you and being
You're
our
welcome.
guest.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you very
Thank
much.
you also.
Thank you for your
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Then also thanks to our listeners for listening. And thanks to all our teammates at KU Leuven for supporting us.
And thank you, Radio Centraal, for letting us doing our show tonight. It has been a real pleasure being here.
Yes, very
Viva
much.
Radio Centraal.
Viva Radio Centraal!
Done. Alright, well done.
Thank you. Thank you so much
So-
for helping us with everything.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah, we
thank
couldn't have
you.
done it
Yeah,
without
like,
you.
yeah, but
Even
I
the
like to
technical
pass
stuff
like
and
the
torch.
the torch on. So are you gonna do more shows or is this just one?
We're
time?
hoping next week to
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
have Dennis Tifus, but
Ah,
he
yeah.
hasn't replied. Like we
Yeah,
have
he
contact,
said he
but
wanted
now
to do an interview, but he hasn't replied if he's
Can or
able to.
not.
Yeah, maybe take a second because he's very occupied.